Hello there everybody, welcome out here to today's video. It is World Finals weekend. It is Thursday, so it's time to go ahead and get on with our press conference here for the Monster Jam World Finals. As this press conference will be talking about some stuff like happening with this weekend's event, getting to talk to some drivers, getting to see how they feel about this event, as well as doing announcements for events coming up in the future for this channel. And we're just going to have a fun time here at this press conference. So let's go ahead and kick things off. And we're going to first welcome up Brandon Arthur, the driver of Megalodon, as we have a special announcement here for Brandon Arthur, as due to Blake Granger still sadly not being able to make it out, as he has sadly parted ways with Monster Jam for personal reasons. He will need to say he sadly couldn't make it out to the event here this weekend to compete in the Utah Sports Commission Skills Challenge, which is really unfortunate because he was the driver with the most skills wins throughout the Monster Jam season, collecting a total of 20 wins. And so since he can't make it out, we do have one of our two alternatives here getting a chance to rise to the occasion and get a chance to be in this competition. That being Brandon Arthurs. He will now take over the 10th spot to compete for that Utah Sports Commission Skills Championship that will be occurring later on tonight. So we can't wait to see how Brandon Arthur will do. Brandon Arthur has really improved and has really stepped up his skills game a lot this year, and he's had lots of just great improvement, and he's been getting better at combos. And ever since he got a more full-time spot behind the wheel of JCB Digatron earlier on in the season, he's just been doing really good in the skills challenge, and so we cannot wait to watch him compete in skills, the skills championship, see if he can try to bring home a championship. And now with that being said, that also means we need to have two alternatives. Our first alternative is, of course, Armando Castro and El Toro Loco. So Armando will still remain as an alternate just in case if something happens, one of these drivers could not make it out to compete. And Brandon Arthur, we decided to put him in since he got 11th place with 5 wins, and he was barely missing out on this lineup. So he's going to get a chance to compete. But now our second brand new alternative for this competition is going to be Tony Oaks in JCB Digatron Stars and Stripes. Tony will be an alternate here for this weekend in the Skills Challenge, just in case if two drivers by any chance have to somehow can't make it to compete in the competition. And he will be the second alternate here, as Tony Oaks got 13th place with the most amount of skills wins throughout this season, collecting a total of 4. So we'll see how Tony Oaks does and see if he'll get a shot here, see if Tony or Armando get a shot to compete in the Skills Championship. But as of right now, Brandon Arthur has now secured himself that 10th and final spot in the Skills lineup, and let's see if he can bring home his first World Championship in Skills behind the wheel of Megalodon. Alright fans, next up let's welcome our series champions up onto the stage. We have your 2025-2026 International Tour winners, Charlie Pauken and Matt Cody. We're also going to welcome on up to the stage Arena Series West champion, Tim Hall Jr., your Freestyle Mania Arena Series Central champion, Weston Anderson, your Arena Series East champion, John Zimmer Jr., your Stadium Series West champion, Tyler Menninga, and your Stadium Series East champion, Adam Anderson. Let's go ahead and start off with John Zimmer Jr. This year, John Zimmer Jr. made himself the 5th ever independent to win a series championship. And John Zimmer Jr., he had a really great season this year on Arena Series East and was really hungry for that series championship. Last year, came down to the final event on Arena Series Central, and it was down between him and Jamie Sullivan for the Arena Series Central Championship last year, but sadly just barely missed out on it. I bet you John would have been a series champion last year if he would have kept up his momentum that he had from South Haven, and if we had a few more extra stops after that, he had a great chance of coming back and catching up to grab the series championship, but it just did not work out for him, sadly. But this year, man, he was locked in. He was determined to do this. And, he did not leave Kansas City as the points leader, as Cody Saucier and Dragon was the series points leader, leaving Kansas City, but John Zimmer Jr. slowly fought his way back up and got to the #1 spot. And I think he had that #1 spot by around February. And from there, he just ran with it, and he did not lose the lead, although this was a really close tour at the very beginning. I know in those first 2 months, it felt like there was like less than 10 points separating like the top 5. And you had Cody Saucier, Kristen Anderson, his own father, John Zimmer Sr., and MJ Solorio, all breathing down his neck, trying to get that point series away from him. And then in around April, or late March, somewhere around April, John Zimmer Jr. just really started to expand that points lead, and he got a big points lead over some of the other drivers. And then by the time Macon came, he had clinched the series championship, even maybe an event or two early before the final stop. And John Zimmer Jr. finally got himself that series championship. And he's super happy to do it, represent for all those independents out there, as they work super hard to make sure they can put on a show for you fans week in and week out. So awesome job here for John Zimmer Jr. on a great year in winning the series championship. And now this year he's coming into World Finals, and it's kind of like last year. He's going to compete in the main field and in the skills championship. So we'll see what he can do in those two competitions, and see if he can get himself a championship. Last year, John Zimmer Jr. wasn't as happy with his performance as he would have liked to, especially in the likes of racing and in skills. Skills, he came up so close to winning that championship. He ended up finishing second to Blake Granger, and now Blake Granger not in that lineup. Let's see if John Zimmer Jr. can try to bring himself home that series champion, that skills championship. And also the competition John Zimmer Jr. is really focused on this weekend is racing, as John Zimmer Jr., the past 2 times he competed in World Finals back in 2023 and 2025, he ended up losing in round 1 in racing to the same driver, ironically, that being Nick Pagliarulo and Kraken. And now Nick Pagliarulo is not even competing in the World Finals this weekend. So we'll see if John Zimmer Jr. So John Zimmer Jr. will definitely not be racing him in round 1. And we'll see if he can finally get out of round 1 in World Finals racing, he does not want to lose in round 1 here for the 3rd time in a row at World Finals. And I'm very excited to see how John Zimmer Jr. will perform this weekend with his brand new Terminal Velocity chassis that he's debuting this weekend. And I cannot wait to see how he performs, and I can't wait to hopefully see him bring home that series, a world championship. Now let's talk to Weston Anderson, the driver of Gravedigger Red Primer. Weston Anderson, man, another great year for Weston. He's now a 5-time series champion now, as Weston had one heck of a season this year on Arena Series Central Freestyle Mania. Weston, he didn't even leave. It was definitely a slower start for Weston, though, at first, as he left the first stop in Greensboro, not even holding the series lead, as that series lead had belonged to Tony Oaks in JCB Digatron. And Noah was also kind of struggling at the start of the season as well. And Team Gravedigger have been finding lots of rear steer issues as well this year on Gravedigger 37. And he just really was battling that rear steer all season long. And eventually through consistency during the beginning of the season, he was able to bring home quite a few wins, especially in skills in the overall event championship. He was even able to take the lead, but by the time February came around, Weston had lost that points lead to Fernando Martinez and Team El Toro Loco, and then Team El Toro Loco starting to run away with it. But then around late April / early May, throughout that last month of the season, Weston and Noah kicked into high gear, and they really locked in, and they made a big comeback to get the series championship, and the team was just burning it down at each and every single stop. Weston was laying down Arena Freestyle of the Year contention runs towards the end of that tour, and he really burned it down, and he was able to walk away with this series championship. And him and Noah, they became really unstoppable at the end, and Weston was able to walk away with his 5th ever series championship. And now he's back here at the World Finals this year. And the past 2 years for Weston Anderson at the World Finals, he's had the exact same results 2 times in a row, where he'd go out there, be the fastest qualifier, get knocked down that first race in round 2, and then get second place in freestyle. So this year, man, Weston is going for that, is going to try to hopefully make it farther than round 2 in that JCB Racing Championship coming on Saturday. He's going to try to make it past round 2, and he hopes he doesn't lose yet again in round 2 like he has these past 2 years to drivers like Cole Vinard and Cynthia Gauthier in their respective years. And he's hoping to win that freestyle championship and finally get himself a freestyle championship here this year. And we're very excited to see how Weston will do here. He's back in the red primer for Gravedigger, and we can't wait to watch him tear it up and burn it down and see if he can bring home that first ever world championship this weekend. He's also going to be competing in that Utah Sports Commission Skills Championship, so we cannot wait to see how he does and see if he can also try to win that competition as well. Next up, let's go and talk to your Stadium Series East champion, Adam Anderson, the driver of Gravedigger. Adam had an amazing year on Stadium Championship Series East this year. He ended up walking out of St. Louis with the points lead, and he held that points lead all the way from St. Louis all the way to Tampa at the end of the season, and nobody could touch him or take away that top spot. And, man, but there were some times on that tour where it was really close in points. You had drivers, like Michael Pagliarulo and Tristan England just so close behind him in some events, trying to take away that points lead away from him. And especially Michael Pagliarulo as well. There was times where he was like less than 10 points behind, or maybe even less than 5 points behind Adam. And Adam was starting to get kind of nervous that this young kid, Michael Pagliarulo, was going to take him down. But Adam Anderson showed Mike that the old man still got it when driving that Gravedigger truck, and he's able to just have an amazing season. He really also locked in towards the end of the season. I mean, he won so many. I think he won 4 out of the last 5 stops we had on the tour between Fort Myers, Atlanta, and Tampa. In those last 5 stops, he ended up taking home 5 of those. He took home 5 of those wins in those freestyle competition. And the Gravedigger 42 was unveiled and debuted last year in Tampa. And Adam really had some struggles behind the wheel of that truck, and he was having a hard time getting everything figured out when it first debuted last year. But this year, man, they had that truck dialed. Him and the crew had the truck dialed in, and Adam felt really comfortable in it, and he was just flying across that Stadium Series East track. He really had the truck dialed in, and he was also dialed in on that Stadium Series East track this year. And Adam is able to walk out as a series champion for the first time since 2023. And he's hoping to walk away with another World Finals Championship here this year, as he's hungry for his 4th ever World Finals Championship in the Diecast League. The last time he won the a championship in the Diecast League was all the way back in 2014 when he was driving Gravedigger the Legend, and he won the racing championship. So it's been 12 years, and Adam is looking for that world championship this year, and let's see if he can get it done behind the wheel of Gravedigger the Legend, and he can finally become a 4-time World Finals champion. And Adam is not only just competing in the main field this weekend, he's also competing in that Lucas Oil High Jump Championship. So we'll be very excited to watch him perform in high jump for his first time ever, and we're hoping we can see him win the high jump competition and try to bring home a championship maybe here later on tonight. Next up, let's go ahead and talk to our next driver, and we're going to keep the Gravedigger theme going here with Tyler Menninga, the driver of Gravedigger. Tyler is your Stadium Series West champion this year, and now this year, Tyler, I believe, has the most championships out of any single driver. I believe he now is an 8-time series champion. Tyler's been competing on the arenas now for 10 years now, for 10 straight years. Well, not in arenas, but he's been competing on series championships now over the past 10 years. And I believe the only years he ended up losing a series championship were 2019, 2016, and 2022 were the only years he's lost. And so I believe Tyler, he became the driver with the most series championships this year, and has finally passed Ryan Anderson, who got a total of I believe, 7 championships. So Tyler this year became the driver with the most amount of series championships in Monster Jam with a total of 8. And man, it was not an easy journey for Tyler this year, as Tyler left Anaheim, California, and around middle of the pack, which was very odd for him to see. And it was looking like this year, this was going to be Bryce Kenny's year, and he was going to Bryce was finally going to bring home that series championship. But Bryce Kenny had some struggles midway through the season throughout shows like El Paso, Anaheim Show 3, and even New Orleans. And with some of the struggles Bryce was having, Tyler just kicked into high gear, and it felt like in New Orleans on that Easter Sunday was when Tyler found his groove, and he really had that track on Stadium Series West mastered and dialed in, and he just couldn't be stopped. He was winning freestyles and overall event championships left and right, and was able to take away that series lead, and was able to run with that series lead all the way to the end of the season in Birmingham. And it was definitely a little bit close. He had Ryan Anderson trying to hunt him down, as well as Bryce Kenny. But it was also just a really stacked and competitive tour on Stadium Series West this year. But Tyler was able to get it done and bring home that 8th series championship. And this year and this weekend, Tyler's competing in the main field, as well as that Utah Sports Commission Skills Challenge. And so Tyler's going to be ready to try to bring home another championship. He's so far only got 1 championship under his belt, that coming from freestyle all the way back in 2020. He ended up winning the World Freestyle Championship. And so Tyler, he's looking for another championship, man. He really wants another one. He doesn't care if it's skills, racing, or freestyle. He wants to get it done. And he's also looking for lots of redemption in freestyle this weekend, as last year Tyler laid down a burner freestyle run, but got severely underscored by the judges. So Tyler's hoping he can lock in and bring home a freestyle championship here this weekend. But he's also really wanting the racing one. So we'll see what Tyler can do and see if he can finally bring home another championship here this weekend. Next up, we have your Arena Series West champion, Tim Hall Jr., the driver of Drastic Attack. Tim Hall Jr. this year in his second full year of competing in Monster Jam, walking away as a series champion. Tim Hall Jr., man, he had a great season this year, competing against tough competitors like Blake Granger, Matt Cody, and Armando Castro. And he was able to beat them all up, and was able to bring home the series championship this year. But it's definitely not an easy journey, as leaving the first show of the year, Salt Lake City, Armando Castro had the points lead, and Armando was able to hold that lead for most of January. But then around February, Armando just kind of really lost his momentum that he had in January, and Tim Hall Jr. really locked in and kicked into high gear, and took that points lead in February, and he kept the points lead throughout the rest of the tour. And, it's definitely not easy keeping that points lead, as he definitely did have drivers, like Armando Castro, Blake Granger, and even some of those Megalodon drivers as well, like, Ashley Stanford, Matt Doomer, Angelina Knock. He had some of those drivers as well, trying to take away that points lead away from him. But Tim was able to remain consistent, and he was able to walk away as the series champion. Tim got a lot of wins this year. I think he even got 1 or 2 clean sweeps in an event, and he laid down many just awesome he got lots of freestyle wins. He got, I believe, around 3 or 4 skills competition wins, and then even brought home quite a few freestyle wins as well. And so we're excited to see how Tim Hall Jr. can do this weekend, competing in the main field for the first time. Last year, competed in the LCQ, and he really struggled. So this weekend, they brought out and Tim as a brand new chassis for Drastic Attack this weekend, and he cannot wait to run with it. He felt really good in practice yesterday, as last year Tim just really struggled on the track because of that elevated turn, and this chassis was just really not built for that type of turn. So Tim, he's now instead of running that old Monster Machines chassis, he's now got a brand new Spinmaster chassis. He's going to be running this weekend, and he's very excited to rock it out in the big field for the first time. Last year, Team Throttle Monster was super bummed that they didn't have any of their drivers compete in the main field. Now this year, they finally got one with Tim Hall Jr. locking in his main field spot by winning that Arena Series West, and this is the home for Team Throttle Monster. So Tim is looking to burn it down on this weekend, and he's ready to they're trying to bring home a world championship here, representing in the home state and in the hometown of Team Throttle Monster. And Tim this year, man, he's the fourth ever independent driver to clinch a series championship, as the only other three to have done it before him were Rosalie Raymer, Kalen Miguez, and Zach Garner. So Tim is really happy to add his name to the list of independents to have won a series championship, and Tim is hoping he can bring home a world championship as well and join an elite group of independent drivers to have won and to win a world championship, and he can be up in there with the likes of drivers like Jim Kohler and Jimmy Cretin, who are independents who have won world finals championships. So we're excited to see how Tim Hall Jr. can do here this weekend in the main field and see if he can bring home that world championship. And lastly, we're going to talk to our international tour drivers. We have Charlie Pauken and Matt Cody, as Team Gravedigger had another great year internationally. Matt Cody carried most of the weight this time around compared to Charlie Pauken, like in the previous international tour from 2024. And man, it was a great year this year for Team Gravedigger. And Matt Cody really flew under the radar at the beginning of the season in driving Gravedigger, and this was also a really long tour. This tour lasted for like nearly over 10 months. And Matt Cody, for the first nearly 3 months of the tour, Matt Cody really flew under the radar. He was being consistent, staying up there near the top, but he just wasn't getting as many wins as he had hoped to, and he was kind of struggling for a bit. But and it felt like in around November was when Gravedigger really kicked into high gear, and Matt Cody really got comfortable to this international Gravedigger chassis, and he really started locking in and just started bringing home lots of wins in Gravedigger, and was able to eventually jump and get to the top spot. And from around November all the way to the end of the season in June, Team Gravedigger had that points lead dialed in. And then after February, Matt Cody decided to hand off the seat of Gravedigger to Charlie Pauken for the rest of the tour. And Charlie was able to really lock in and burn it down. And Charlie got also really used to and comfortable to the international Gravedigger chassis, and that truck he just knew how to freestyle in that truck, as that truck was just doing really awesome in freestyle. And Charlie was able to clinch that series championship in around early April. And Matt Cody got to give also the invite to Charlie to compete in the main field this weekend. And Charlie is really excited to burn it down this year, World Finals in the big show. As Charlie had a Charlie, struggled last year a little bit driving the new International Tour Gravedigger chassis here at the World Finals, and as he really wasn't used to the chassis. This is where this International Tour Gravedigger chassis debuted here in Salt Lake City last year, so it's been a full circle moment for the truck to return to the place where it debuted at, and the truck has gotten so much better over the past year, and that we're really excited to see how Charlie Pauken will do out here in the Monster Jam World Finals in the main field. And we'll be able to see if him or Matt Cody can bring home a series championship. Both Charlie and Matt are freestyle champions out here in the World Finals. Charlie winning his freestyle titles in 2010 and 2015, and Matt Cody getting his in 2024. So we'll see if either one of them can try to bring it home this weekend and try to win themselves another world championship. As we'll be seeing Charlie Pauken and Matt Cody, they'll both be competing in both the main field as well as the Utah Sports Commission Skills Championship. So we'll be very excited to see how they'll do and see if they can bring home another world championship here tonight or on Saturday. Alrighty, fans, it's time to welcome up to the stage our next group of drivers that we'll be seeing compete here throughout this weekend. We would first like to welcome up to the stage Tony Oakes, the driver of JCB Digatron Stars and Stripes; Kristen Anderson, the driver of Gravedigger Grandma; Chucky Pauken, the driver of Classroom Crusher; celebrating 15 years, Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger; and then two of our drivers of Sparkle Smash, that being Chelsea Van Cleve and Jamie Sullivan. Alright, man, we'll start off with Tony Oakes. This year he got the call late last year that he's going to be leaving Thunder Roarus, and they get the chance to drive JCB Digatron this year on Arena Series Central for the Freestyle Mania Tour. And Tony Oakes, man, he really loves driving JCB Digatron. This is a very perfect fitting truck for him, as Tony does when on his off time when he's not competing in Monster Jam trucks. He knows how to drive and operate some of that heavy equipment and some of this stuff. So this is just a very perfect fit here for Tony Oaks. And this year, man, he ended up having a pretty good season on Freestyle Mania, finishing 3rd place. And he had his teammate TJ Tiffany on the tour as well. And the team's going to get 3rd place. They left Greensboro with the series lead, though. But they sadly lost the points lead a few stops after that, and were never able to reclaim it. But they remained consistent throughout the whole year, and they got 3rd. And Tony Oaks even got a new JCB Digatron chassis midway through the season that debuted. And I believe around Buffalo, New York is when that chassis debuted. And Tony Oaks he really loves the new JCB Digatron chassis. And he's been loving driving. He's had a lot of fun driving. It's one of the best chassis he's ever driven. And this weekend, sadly, he did not get the chance to get that automatic bid into the main field like how he did last year. And this year, he's gonna kind of have to earn it a bit by competing in that last chance qualifier coming up later today. Tony Oaks in the LCQ qualifying, he ended up qualifying somewhere in the top 4. So he's gonna get a round 1 bye. So we're really excited to see that and see if Tony Oaks can try to bring home that LCQ win. But it's definitely gonna be difficult going up against other very fast drivers. The 3 Team Throttle Monster drivers are really locked in. They really want this win super badly. With Mike Christensen, Mike Christensen, Alex Barton, and Dalton Widener. And Triton Robbins can also be very fast and definitely also an underdog in this competition, as well as Chucky Palkin. So it's going to be a tough one out here for Tony, but we'll see what he can do. We're going to be unveiling, and we're going to have a new rendition of the JCB Digatron Stars and Stripes get unveiled here soon. Tony got the opportunity and the privilege to drive the Stars and Stripes JCB Digatron throughout the beginning of the season, throughout the first month and a half of his tour. And now he's gonna get. Now we got a new rendition of it that will be unveiling in the pit party later on this afternoon. So it'll be very excited to see how that will look, and we can't wait to see Tony Oaks rip it up in the LCQ and the JCB Digatron Stars and Stripes. And he's also a backup alternate as well for that Utah Sports Commission Skills Challenge. Just in case if one of our drivers can't make it out, Tony Oaks is an alternate spot, and he will get in if one of these drivers for some reason cannot compete. And we're very excited to see how Tony Oaks will do this weekend in the LCQ, and let's even get himself that spot into the main field and get himself another chance to compete in the World Finals here this year. Next up, we have Kristen Anderson, driver Gravedigger Grandma. We're going to throw it over to her now. Kristen Anderson had another great year this year. It's very rare to see Kristen Anderson have a great season on an even-numbered year. This is probably her best season on an even-numbered year since 2020. And Kristen really ripped it up and had a fun time on Arena East this year driving Gravedigger. She did also have her struggles, though, this year as she ended up missing 2 events in February due to an illness she had. And she called up Brandon Arthur to come in and fill in for her. But still, man, it was a great season for Kristen Anderson. She may not have won as much as what she did last year, but she still had a great season and still picked up quite a few wins throughout the season. And Kristen was able to get 3rd place on Arena Series East this year. Driving Gravedigger. She came back towards the very end to take down John Zimmer Sr. and get that 3rd place spot on the tour, and now we cannot wait to see what she can do here in the main field. She's back behind the wheel of Grandma Gravedigger yet again, so I'm very excited to see how she'll do performing behind the wheel of that iconic paint scheme that she's driven now quite a few times. She drove it last year, and this year, man, she's ready to go. She didn't have her best of year at Wolf Files last year, and this year she's ready to lock in, and she's ready to put on a show for all of you Monster Jam fans. She's ready. She's ready to lock in, and she's ready for that freestyle competition as well. She's very excited for that freestyle competition. GD41 has been doing great all season long, and she really loves these pool table tracks, and she's very confident she can lay down a very awesome freestyle here this weekend for all you fans. And we cannot wait to see what she can do here for all the Moss-Champ fans here this weekend here here at Rice Cycle Stadium. Kristen will be competing in the main field for racing and freestyle, so we're very excited to see how she'll do and see if she can try to bring home try to see if she can bring home her first ever championship this year, and she can join the likes of her brothers and her father to have a world championship. Next up, we got Chucky. We're gonna throw things over to Chucky Palkin, the driver Classroom Crusher. Chucky Palkin, man, he's had a great year this year in his first year in Monster Jam. Man, Chucky, he's no stranger to this sport. He's grown up in it his whole life, and now this year he finally got a chance to drive here after these past 3 years he's been doing crewing. He's been a crew chief for teams like Team Tomfoolery. He crewed for them 2023 and 2024, and he also got a chance to crew for them. And then he also got a chance to crew for Send It Motorsports last year in 2025. So we're excited to see how Chucky will do this year here driving now. As this year he finally got to drive these trucks, and man, Chucky, this dude is just already so talented. I mean, he was driving this year on Arena Series Central as if bro has been driving for his whole life. Like he was out there driving like he was a veteran. And this year, I believe he ended up placing, 6th place on the Freestyle Mania series with his teammate Drew Slough. But still, Chucky Palkin, he may not have gotten as many wins this year, but he still did have a great performance. I believe he took home one freestyle win. I know he's accomplished his first ever career backflip this year. He went to many final rounds in racing, and his skills game is already very impressive, as he also just really knows how to do awesome and amazing combos in the Classroom Crusher. And he's really excited for this weekend, as this weekend he's competing in the LCQ. And he ended up placing top 4 as being one of the fastest in the LCQ. In the LCQ qualifying, I believe he got 3rd fastest in LCQ qualifying just 2 days ago on Tuesday. And he was really fast out there on the track. And so, he's ready here. He's a bit nervous here. It's his first time competing on this big stadium level. But we're very excited to see how Chucky will do and see if he can bring home that LCQ win and get his shot to compete in the World Finals in his rookie season. So I'm very excited for Chucky, and I'm very excited to watch him drive out here this weekend and see if he can try to get himself that shot into the big show here this year, and he can compete alongside his father, Charlie Palkin, who's also competing in the main field driving Gravedigger. So we're really excited to see how Chucky will do here for all these fans this weekend. Next up, let's go ahead and throw things off as we go from talking to a rookie to more of a veteran in the sport. He's been around it for over 15 years. That being Ryan Anderson. This year, Ryan Anderson celebrating 15 years of Son of a Digger, and he got to travel all over the world to drive this truck. He competed in places as far as from Fort Myers in Fort Myers, Florida, all the way to places, like out there in California, and places like Anaheim, San Diego, Inglewood, all the way to even over across the whole world, even competing in 3 Australia shows throughout February and March, in places like Gold Coast, Sydney, and Melbourne. So it's been a great year traveling all around the world, from the East Coast to the West Coast to Australia. It's been a great year for Ryan Anderson, and he's had a lot of success as well. It didn't matter if he was competing in it didn't matter if he was in Sweet Home Alabama, South Florida, SoCal, or in the land down under. Ryan was able to bring home wins this year, and even held the Stadium Series lead on Stadium Series West for maybe a few stops and around midway through the season. But Ryan sadly wasn't able to secure that series championship here on the 15 years of Son of a Digger, as he ended up getting 2nd place, falling short to Tyler Meninga in Gravedigger. But still, man, if Ryan was going to lose to anybody, it would be Tyler in one of the Digger trucks. And Ryan Anderson, he's ready to go. It's going to be a long weekend for Ryan Anderson. He is competing in all 4 competitions. He's competing in skills, he's competing in high jump, and he is competing in freestyle. He's competing in skills, high jump, freestyle, and racing. So I believe he is the only driver to be competing in all 4 competitions here this year. So we're very excited. It's going to be a long week for Ryan and his crew, but he's very confident. He's looking for a world championship number 5, as he's been stuck on 4 now for around 7 years. Last time Ryan won a championship was back in 2019 when he won both racing and freestyle. And Ryan, man, he's looking for some slight redemption. He's really hungry for a championship here this year. As last year he came up and felt like so close to winning 2 championships last year. Last year he ended up losing in the final round in racing to Todd LeDuc and Megalodon Stars and Stripes after he rolled over in the berm. And then last year and then last year he also came up so close to winning freestyle, and many people thought he was maybe robbed the freestyle championship last year as he ended up placing 4th place. So we're excited to see how Ryan can do out here in the main big field here this year. And we're hoping to try to bring home a 5th championship, as it'd be really well fitting for Ryan to bring home a championship here in 15 years of Son of a Digger. As Ryan celebrating 15 years of this iconic and staple truck here in Monster Jam, and I'm very excited to watch how he'll perform on the track this weekend, as I know he's really hungry for some redemption and a championship. But most importantly, man, he loves the trophies and all that. It's all really cool, but he just wants to make sure he wants to just put on a show here for all of you Monster Jam fans. He really wants to just go out there and just really burn it down, put on a show for all you Monster Jam fans who paid their hard-earned money. Come out here and watch Ryan Anderson compete, as he wants to make sure your money was well spent coming out here to Monster Jam, and that's his #1 goal, is to make sure you fans go home with some happy memories. And I'm sure he can get that done here this weekend. I'm sure whether he wins or loses, he's going to have a crazy moment at some point this weekend, and we're really excited to see how Ryan Anderson will perform here this weekend, and let's see if we can bring home championship number 5 here this weekend. And now we're going to shift it over here to Chelsea Van Cleve, the driver of Sparkle Smash. And this weekend, she's representing the Neon Sparkle Smash, as we put the Neon Sparkle Smash body on her chassis here this weekend. And last year, this was the truck that Kayla Blood ended up driving in the main field. And now this year, Chelsea Van Cleve is she had a great year on the international tour this year, and even also got to do some shows stateside as well, doing a fill-in show, doing 2 shows as a fill-in for an injured Brianna Mahan throughout some shows in early March of this year, driving Ringling Bailey Circuit. But she's also gotten a chance to also drive Thor this year and on the international tour, as well as getting a chance to also drive Sparkle Smash as well. And Chelsea's driven just so many different identities throughout her young Monster Jam career. But so far, Sparkle Smash is definitely her favorite one. She loves all the fans. She loves all the little girls who come through her pit party line, and she really loves the fan base of this truck. And she's been having a blast driving it. And has even gotten brought home some pretty good wins behind the wheel as well, such as a really great arena freestyle all the way back in Raleigh on the international tour earlier on back during the season, back on Easter Sunday. And Chelsea Van Cleve is sadly so far is not slated to compete this weekend, although she is currently right now sitting as a alternate backup for the LCQ, and just in case if one of the other 12 competitors cannot make it out to the track, she'll be sitting as an alternate, and she'll be ready to compete if need be behind the wheel of that Neon Sparkle Smash. But, hey, man, whether she gets a chance to compete or not this weekend, she's ready to have fun. And she's also ready to cheer on for other Sparkle Smash teammates, Jamie Sullivan and Kayla Blood, who will be competing in the main field this year, and even in the Skills Challenge as well. And she'll be rooting them on, and we cannot wait to see how they do. And Chelsea Van Cleve is going to be ready to have fun and meet all you fans throughout the weekend here at the pit party here this year at Monster Jam World Finals. And let's go ahead and talk to our next and final driver for this little segment here, that being Jamie Sullivan. Jamie Sullivan got the call after her amazing arena performance last year, where she ended up bringing home that Arena Series Central Championship. She got the chance to compete in the big leagues, in the stadiums throughout this year, and she got a chance to drive Sparkle Smash. And while it's definitely a learning curve and definitely difficult for her at times because of how heavy this Sparkle Smash body is, she still managed to have a great season, finishing in 7th place. She has been bummed she didn't get in the top half, or in the top 6 or top 5, as she was in that top 6 for quite a long time on the Stadium Series East this year. But then lost that spot and near the end of the season when Chris Kohler ended up coming back and trying to take away that spot away from her as and Joe Foley as well. Well, and she may have had some struggles towards the end of the season, and whether it be due to just getting underscored or just not having the runs she's really looking for, but still an awesome and great first year on a stadium tour for Jamie Sullivan. And as she ended up still brought home some wins, such as an overall event championship win back in Arlington. And so it's still been a great year for Jamie Sullivan. And Jamie Sullivan also got a chance to do a lot of international shows as well this year, as she got to compete overseas quite a bit, mainly driving Thor and even Sparkle Smash for a few Australia events. And she had a fun time. She's had a fun blast over this past year, ever since the last Salt Lake City World Finals. She's really traveled around the whole world competing in Monster Jam trucks. She's been to South America, she's been to the UK, Germany, Australia. She's been everywhere, and now we're back here in Salt Lake City, and she's ready for some redemption years. Last year, Jamie Sullivan had to drive with an injury last year because Jamie Sullivan ended up getting a dog bite on her face, and it got infected, so she got put on lots of antibiotics, and she tried to power her way through to try to compete in the World Finals last year, because last year, man, she had worked so hard to win that Arena Series Central Championship, and she wasn't going to let anything stop her from competing in this big event of the year for her first ever time. And last year, Jamie Sullivan, and she wasn't really driving like she wanted a championship. She was driving just to try to get through the weekend, and she didn't really have that good of a performance. She ended up was the slowest in the main field qualifying, ended up losing round 1 to Cody Saucier and Dragon, and then went on in freestyle and just did not have the run she was looking for, and she ended up placing, I believe, dead last in freestyle last year. So Jamie's looking for a better World Finals appearance this year for her second ever Monster Jam World Finals. She's looking to do a lot better here this weekend, and I'm very excited to see how she does and how she competes. And I'm really hoping she can try to bring home herself a world championship and try to join the elite group of female drivers who have won a world championship. And I'm very excited to see how Jamie will do this year. She's definitely hungry, and she's ready to just drive all out. She has no injuries so far, and she's ready to go all out here in the main field. And she's also getting a chance this year to compete in that Utah Sports Commission Skills Challenge later on tonight, which is a very first for her in her career. So she's very excited about that, and I'm very excited to see how she'll do and how she'll compete in that, and hopefully she can try to bring home herself a world championship here before the end of the weekend. Alrighty, fans, time to talk to our next and to our next group of drivers here. Let's welcome up onto the stage. You're representing 25 years of the Crazy Bull, runner-up on Arena Series West, Armando Castro and El Toro Loco. We're also going to welcome up your your bronze medalist on Stadium Series East, Tristan England and JCB Digatron. Cynthia Gautier, the driver of Lucas Stabilizer. MJ Solario, the driver of El Toro Loco Yellow. Brandon Selechka and Zombie. And Zach Garner in Wildside. I'm going to go ahead and start off with Armando Castro. Armando, man, he's excited to compete here yet again this year. He's the reigning World Finals Freestyle Champion. And he ended up winning that Freestyle Championship last year. And, man, some people said a lot of people were saying that, it's a bit of a controversial moment. So Armando, he's back here this year, and he's ready to prove that last year's no fluke. And he's ready to prove everybody that he deserves that freestyle championship fair and square, and he wants to try to win it back-to-back years. That'd be something huge if he can win it back-to-back years. I mean, this year, he's representing 25 years of that Crazy Bull El Toro Loco, and he's had a pretty successful season representing 25 years of this truck. As he started out Arena Series West, and he had a really great first month in January, where he's winning overall event championships in freestyle competitions left and right. But then in February, he kind of lost his momentum, and Tim Hall Jr. would end up stealing that points lead away from him, and he was unable to get it back throughout the whole rest of the season. But he still had a great year amazing, great season this year, getting second place on Arena Series West. And even towards the end of last year as well, he ended up even got a chance to go to South America to places like Chile and Argentina, where he's able to burn it down in El Toro Loco. So this past year has been amazing for Armando, and we're really excited to see him compete here this weekend at World Finals. As it's gonna be a big weekend here for Armando. He's competing in the main field, and he's also going to be. He's also currently right now an alternate for that Utah Sports Commission Skills Championship. So for some reason, if any of these drivers do back down, he will be an alternate backup to compete. So we'll see if that will happen for Armando here tonight. And we're very excited to watch Armando compete, and I'm hoping we can see him bring home another championship here this weekend. He can become a two-time Monster Jam World Finals champion. Next up, we have Tristan England, the driver of JCB Digatron. Tristan's excited to come out here and compete in the World Finals yet again here this year in 2026. Tristan had an interesting year this year on Stadium Series East. And while this season for him on his tour may not have been as good as last year's, he did not bring home the series championship this year, sadly. He ended up placing third. He still had a great season and had many iconic and memorable moments. And he's ready to come out here World Finals. And he's hungry for that first ever World Championship that he is still yet to win. And he's hoping he can get it done and win it here this weekend, here in the World Finals. And I'm really hoping Tristan can have a really great event. He can put on a show for you guys. He does have something really special planned in freestyle, something he really wants to pull off again that he did earlier on in the season. He's gonna try to pull out of his hat in freestyle. And hopefully he can try to win that freestyle championship, as that's the one he's going to be going for the most this weekend. But he would also really love to get that racing championship as well. And he's also getting a chance to also compete in the skills challenge as well this weekend, as Tristan was really bummed out last year that he didn't get a chance to compete in that Utah Sports Commission skills championship last year. But now he's finally getting a chance to get a chance to compete in it this year. And he's really excited for that competition. He cannot wait to burn it down in that competition for all you fans. And he's definitely going to be hungry and ready to try to bring home that win. And I'm very excited to see how Tristan will perform here this weekend. And let's see if we can finally bring home that first World Championship. Somebody who's also hungry for that first World Championship is Cynthia Gauthier. We'll be seeing Cynthia Gauthier compete this weekend in the main field, as well as the Lucas Oil High Jump Championship. Cynthia was really bummed she did not get a chance to compete in the competition last year, so she's ready to come out here and compete in it here this weekend, and she's ready to just go full throttle, and she's ready to just absolutely send and soar this truck into the skies for all of you fans. And she's going to be looking for that championship later on tonight, and that's the one she really wants the most. And she's also really hungry as well for a freestyle championship as well. Last year, she felt as if she did a great freestyle and maybe got slightly underscored. And so Cynthia is really looking for a great freestyle and really looking for a big score here this weekend. As Cynthia got a chance to be on Stadium Series East this year, and she finished a bit lower on her tour than what she would have liked to. I believe she ended up finishing, maybe ninth place on. I actually may have got this wrong when we were talking to Jamie Sullivan, but I believe Jamie Sullivan got 8th place and Cynthia got 9th, as it was a really tough and stacked and competitive tour that Cynthia competed on this year, but she still did have her success, as she laid down a really awesome freestyle run in Detroit to get herself the freestyle and overall event championship at that show. And Cynthia's really been struggling with the scores this year. She's gotten underscored quite a few times this year, especially in Fort Myers. She got severely underscored at that show, as I felt as if she should have gotten second place in freestyle at that event when she finished really low in the lower half of the field. So I'm really hoping Cynthia can lock in and she can put on a show for you guys, and she can get a well-deserved and well-earning freestyle score. And she's going to be ready to really put her foot on that loud pedal, and she's really ready to just really go crazy in freestyle here this weekend, as she really wants a freestyle championship here this year, and she really is hoping she can get it done, and she can get it done for all the ladies, representing for all the ladies and all the moms out there. Cynthia Gauthier is hoping she can go out there and just compete, and she can try to bring home her first ever World Finals championship. Next up, we have MJ Solorio, the driver of El Toro Loco Yellow. MJ's ready to compete out here at the Monster Jam World Finals here this weekend, and as he's getting a chance to drive the Yellow El Toro Loco yet again. So far this weekend, he is just scheduled to compete in the Last Chance qualifier that will be coming up later on tonight. MJ has not been as much known for his racing as he maybe is for maybe his two-wheel skills or his freestyle. But MJ's hoping he can burn it down and he can put on a show here for all you Monster Jam fans here, and he can really do well in the LCQ, and hopefully he can try to get himself a spot in that main field. And MJ felt as if he's maybe been slightly robbed the main field this year. After his amazing season on Arena Series East, and we ended up finishing second place. I don't think MJ ever had the series lead at all throughout the whole tour, but he was really consistent at holding that second place spot. And MJ definitely struggled with some truck problems towards the end of the season, and which allowed for John Zimmer Jr. to really get a big lead on him to win that series championship. But man, after almost having now over 2 months off since their last show in Macon, they really went down and they have this truck ready and dialed in. And hopefully the truck will not cause any issues for MJ, and MJ can go out there and just put on a show for you guys, and he can walk away, hopefully with the LCQ win, and he can get himself a shot into the big field and into the big show. Next up, we have Brandon Telechka, the driver of Zombie. Brandon Telechka had an amazing year this year on Arena Series Central Freestyle Mania. He ended up finishing 4th place with his teammate Chandler Hyder. And Brandon, he's ready to go. He's ready to rock and roll here for this weekend's event. Here is this weekend so far. He's slated to just compete mainly in skills, but he is also an alternate backup for the LCQ if one of the drivers could not make it out. So we'll see if Brandon will get himself a shot in the LCQ. But as of now, he's just mainly here for that skills championship. Brandon Telechka got the second most amount of skills wins here this year, collecting a total of 10 throughout the whole season. So Brandon is going to be really ready to go here this weekend. And he is ready to just he's ready to lock in. He's ready to burn it down here this weekend, and in that Utah Sports Submission Skills Challenge. And if that's his only competition he's competing in, he can just go all out here and try to do the craziest move possible. Well, so that way he can get himself that championship. Brandon's been doing super awesome in skills this year. He's been just doing all sorts of crazy combos. He's been doing slap moonwalks. He's been resting the truck on the front end and shutting it off mid moonwalk. And he's also been doing those spinnerooskies as well, where a lot of that truck sitting on the front end will completely turn around to shift it to face the opposite direction. So we'll see what kind of crazy combination of moves Brandon Telechka may try to pull out this weekend. And I'm really excited to see him compete, and I'm really hoping he can try to bring home his first ever world championship here in the Skills Challenge. Next up, we have Zach Garner, the driver Wild Side. Zach Garner, another great year this year on Stadium Series West. I believe he ended up finishing 4th place this year, barely missing out there on, he barely missed out on getting into the to the top 3 like how he did last year. But still, Zach, man, he had a great season and picked up some wins along the way. I believe he ended up taking on some freestyle wins in shows like Nashville and in Anaheim as well. And he's maybe not being as good of a season as it was last year for Zach. He still had a great year this year, and he's ready to come out here to World Finals. He's ready to burn it down, as Zach is competing this weekend in high jump as well as the main field. So we're excited to see how Zach will do in those competitions. And Zach, he's really hungry for that racing championship. That's the one he's really looking for some redemption from last year. And even the year prior, he's still looking for that racing. He's really looking for that racing championship here this weekend, as he ended up going to the final round back in 2024, but then ended up having truck issues, and that cost him the race. And so Zach is really hoping he can bring home that racing championship this year. And then last year ended up losing to Todd LeDuc in round 2. So Zach is really hungry and really looking for that racing championship here this weekend and in the JCB Racing Championship. And he's also looking for a freestyle win as well as Zach Gardner for freestyle last year. And it felt like he was just, he was just trying too hard and he just could not quite find his momentum on the track that he was looking for to win the freestyle championship. And he didn't let that momentum come to him naturally. He tried to force it out there on the track. So Zach is really ready to come out here, be calm, cool, and collected, and he's going to be ready to just put on a show here for all you Monster Jam fans here in the Monster Jam World Finals. I'm very excited to see how Zach will do, and I'm really hoping we can see him walk away with some sort of championship here this weekend. Alrighty, fans, let's now welcome up to the stage two of our drivers that will be competing in the FMX Championship. That being Noah Bakken, who will be in Gravedigger Red Primer, and Tony Oaks, and TJ Tiffany in JCB Decatron Stars and Stripes. This year, we started off with our very first ever Freestyle Mania Tour on Arena Series Central, and it proved to be a pretty good hit, as it looks like all of you fans really liked it. And I mean, lots of the videos got like over 20,000 views and broke and got over 10,000 and even over 20,000 views. In fact, our most viral show from this season was Columbus, Ohio, which was a Freestyle Mania event. So it's clear you fans love the Freestyle Mania, which is why we're bringing out a Freestyle Mania Championship this weekend. All eight of our FMX drivers, minus Scott Murray, will be competing for a Freestyle Motocross World Championship here this weekend. Throughout the pit party, we will be having 3 best trick competitions throughout the weekend. We will be hosting one during today's pit party here on Thursday, and then we'll be hosting 2 on Saturday. Hey, so we're really excited for our Freestyle Mania World Championship that we'll be seeing throughout the pit party this weekend. TJ Tiffany and Noah Bakken are 2 of our riders out here, and they're 2 of some of the ones I definitely keep my eye out on. Noah Bakken, while he did struggle a little bit towards the beginning of this season with the FMX, he really locked in towards the end, and this dude just knows how to whip this truck in the air. So I'm really excited to watch, see how Noah will do, and see if he can try to pull out those whips to try to win those best trick competitions. And TJ Tiffany's been riding for several years, and he's been an iconic FMX rider here in Monster Jam, and we're really excited to watch him compete as well. Well, and see what kind of crazy moves. I mean, we know how he's been known to do some pretty awesome backflips out there on that dirt bike. So we'll see what kind of crazy backflips he can try to pull off here throughout the weekend to try to get himself his FMX World Championship. And it's going to be pretty much everything wrapped here with our FMX Superstars. Be sure to catch those throughout the pit party this weekend. Our FMX riders, as they'll be trying to go and compete out here for that Freestyle Motocross World Championship. Alrighty, fans, now welcome up onto the stage your 2 Hall of Fame inductees that will be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame throughout this weekend. Your 14-time World Finals champion, Tom Meents, and your 2004 Freestyle champion, Lupe Souza. So this weekend, we're bringing back the Monster Jam Hall of Fame for the first time in 5 years. I mean, the last time we had the Hall of Fame was during 2021, when we inducted Dennis Anderson, Scott Douglas, the late Mike Wales, and Gary Porter. We ended up inducting Dennis Anderson and Scott Douglas at Monster Jam World Finals 22 5 years ago back in Orlando, back in 2021, back near the beginning and creation of this channel. And then we also got to see the Hall of Fame inductions for Mike Wales and Gary Porter back at the grandparents finale event at my grandparents' house for the final event there up in Dade City. So, it's been 5 years, and this year we're bringing it back, and we couldn't have thought of 2 better drivers to have out here in the Hall of Fame. Tom Meents, he's a 14-time World Finals champion, has the most world championships out of anybody in Monster Jam. And so Tom, he's a well-deserved spot, and he's very excited to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Here representing here for 250 years of America. It couldn't have been any other better weekend here. We'll be seeing him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame on Saturday during halftime. And then Lupe Sosa, he's the driver who really built this Hispanic fan base here in Monster Jam, representing for the whole Latino community out here with this El Toro Loco truck. The truck debuted 25 years ago back in 2001 and has just been a hit since then, and has even gone on to win lots of different championships, whether it be series championships or world championships, and many just awesome drivers here this year, some of which you'll be seeing compete here throughout this weekend. We'll be seeing Armando driving the main field and possibly Skills. We'll see MJ in the LCQ. Fernando will be in the main field, and we'll see Joe Foley in the LCQ as well. Well, so, Lupe has been, he's been the one who pioneered pioneered El Toro Loco in the Hispanic fan base in Monster Jam, and Lupe just went out there and just did so many crazy stuff and made sure he always put on a show for the fans. And whether he was driving El Toro Loco or Advanced Auto Parts Grinder, man, this dude's truly an icon here of the sport, and we cannot wait to see these two get inducted to the Hall of Fame. Lupe Sosa will be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame during halftime, during tonight's show. During tonight's show. Later on tonight, in between the skills and main field qualifying, we have a little halftime there. We'll be inducting Lupe Sosa to the Hall of Fame, and Tom Benson will be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame on Saturday. So we cannot wait, and we're very excited to watch these two get inducted to the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. And it's gonna be really exciting here to welcome in the class of 2026 for the Monster Jam Hall of Fame here this weekend. Alright, next up, fans, let's go and welcome back up onto the stage Armando Castro as well as Corey Rummel, as these will be the two drivers performing our stunts here this weekend. Later on tonight, Armando Castro is going to get the privilege of doing the 5-truck jump for El Toro Loco. He's going to be jumping over 5 El Toro Locos to close off tonight's event here on Thursday. So we're really excited about that. We can't wait to see Armando jump 5 El Toro Locos. Armando's first time doing a stunt, and we're really excited to see how that will end up going for him. It's going to be very exciting. Can't wait to watch that. And then we have Corey Rummel, who will be doing the double backflip in the Monster Jam stunt truck coming up on Saturday to celebrate 4th of July and 250 years of America. So we're really excited for Corey Rummel to be getting a chance at his first time of doing a stunt. And these two stunts are going to be really awesome this weekend. We have the El Toro Loco 25th Anniversary Encore coming to you guys here later on tonight. And then we have a 4th of July Stars and Stripes Encore coming to you guys on Saturday, celebrate 250 years of America. It should be a fun time, and we cannot wait for these two encores. They sure are going to be stuff you do not want to miss out on. So be sure to check out these shows as soon as they come out for these two encores. Alrighty, Monster Jam fans, next up we're going to be doing this next little announcement here. That being of Holiday Racing Season number 9. As this year, Holiday Racing will be back here this year for its 9th season. The season will be starting, I believe, on Friday, November 27th, and will last all the way till Christmas Day on December 25th. Just traditional like how we always will. And this year we're expanding from 62 to 64 trucks that will be competing from Black Friday all the way through Christmas Day. So it's gonna be an awesome season this year. And we're just here to promote here the new holiday racing season. Will be even having a special Christmas themed truck that will be getting a little special unveil during the pit party here later on today. Hey, to promote this event, you fans who are watching this video could sign up for holiday racing. The signups will drop for holiday racing on Sunday, October 25th. So you guys do not want to miss out on. I believe there will be 44 available trucks you guys can choose from to compete here this season. So you fans, as soon as it comes out on that day, you fans better just, subscribe and hit that notification bell and be active on YouTube that whole day and on Instagram, as that's where the signups will drop. And also, you guys, while we're making this announcement throughout the video and throughout the whole weekend, this is not an opportunity for you guys to sign up, as if you guys try to sign up in the comments section early, like right now on this video, it will not count, and you will not reserve that truck for the holiday racing this season. So, if you want to sign up, you have to wait until Sunday, October 25th to do that, to sign up if you want to get a shot to compete here for holiday racing season number 9, as we're hoping to make this year even bigger and better than it was last year, and it should be a season to definitely look out for. Alrighty, fans, so we're now time to make the announcement for what you all been waiting for, which is, well, the next Monster Jam World Finals location. Now, everybody, we do have an announcement regarding our Diecast League, which is the current future status of this Diecast League is very unknown after this event of what will happen to it. It's unsure if it will completely vanish entirely, or if it will kind of recede and there not be as many events as what we have been doing throughout these past 5 years on YouTube. As there's definitely been a lot of big life changes that have been happening this year. From me turning 18, graduating high school, and trying to figure my way out in this crazy world. There's definitely some more huge life changes to come throughout this year, and as of right now, after this week, there will be a 4-week hiatus, at least for the Diecast League, as we will be spending the next 4 weekends traveling for real-life Monster Jam shows for Savannah, Orlando, Tampa, and Sunrise. And then after that, it's unknown what will happen. Also, guys, I'm going to be starting to look for another job, as we've been monetized, making money now off of YouTube for now nearly like 3.3 years, for like almost over 3 years now. We've been, for 3 years and 3 months now, guys, for 3 years and 3.5 months, we have been making money being monetized here on YouTube. But sadly, the money we're currently making on YouTube is not enough maybe to sustain myself right now, and so I'm maybe looking for a second job outside of YouTube that I may be trying to do. And once I get that job, it may make it very hard to do diecast events. I'll be spending a lot of time focusing on that job, and I may not have as much of the flexibility in the schedule, or as much freedom in the schedule as we have had over the past 5 years. So what the future of this Diecast League will look like is very unknown, but I'm hoping we are still doing this, as part of me doesn't want to give it up completely, because it's still something I have a lot of fun doing and I really enjoy. So if you guys have any suggestions about what to do with the Diecast League heading forward, please be sure to let me know in the comments down below. But fans, let's go ahead and check and see where this next World Finals location will be at for 2027, if it does happen. Oh shoot. You see it right there, Monster Jam World Finals 28, if it does happen, will be in Indianapolis, Indiana, at Lucas Oil Stadium. If this does happen next year, which I hope it does, that is where we will be heading. And, man, it's been great these past years in Salt Lake City, but we can't wait to see what Indianapolis may bring in store for us if the Diecast World Finals happens next year. But, man, it's going to be awesome there. Lucas Oil Stadium, very iconic stadium there in Indianapolis, and we're really excited to see what would happen if we do host a Monster Jam World Finals there. And so, man, it's gonna be it'll be a fun weekend if it does happen at some point next year in 2027, and for the 28th edition of the Monster Jam World Finals. But that will be a wrap out here for the press conference here on Thursday. And we covered a lot here today. We got to talk to a lot of our drivers, see how they're feeling. Coming in this week, we got to make some announcements, for Holiday Racing Season 9, our encores for this weekend, the Hall of Fame. We covered a lot here today, and it's been a very fun press conference. We can't wait to see what the rest of the weekend has in store. By the time you guys are watching this video, we will be having the Pit Party live stream that will be going down today from 2 to 5 p.m. Do not miss that Pit Party live stream, as there will be lots of unveilings happening during that pit party. We have nearly 20 trucks that we're going to be unveiling throughout this whole pit party this afternoon, as well as one of our FMX Best Trick competitions. So you guys do not want to miss out on that. And then later on tonight, this will not be live streamed, but at 6 p.m. we start the big show. Day 1 here of World Finals with the LCQ Skills Championship, the Hall of Fame induction of Lupe Sosa, a special halftime encore that will be a surprise for you guys. We also have your the main field qualifying, the Lucas Oil high jump competition, and then the El Toro Loco 25th anniversary encore. And then for tomorrow, we'll be doing the bowling and go-kart racing with the boys, hopefully, if all goes planned, as well as the award show. And then Saturday, 11 a.m. through 5 p.m. will be the pit party live streamed here to YouTube, where we'll be seeing more truck unveilings, as well as some more FMX competition. And then later on that night, we will be having the main field of events with the racing, freestyle, the Hall of Fame induction of Tom Mentz, a special halftime encore that will be a surprise for you guys until the event happens, and the America 250 encore with the double backflip stunt and a special fireworks show. So we cannot wait. It's going to be fun. It's going to be an awesome weekend to come. You guys do not want to miss out on it. So everybody, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you guys are notified for when more of the World Finals content from this weekend happens, as you guys are not going to want to miss it. And I hope you all have a God bless day, and we'll see you all soon for some more Monster Jam World Finals content.